Welcome to Preston Peak Wines, a family-owned boutique wine business based in Toowoomba, southeast Queensland. Established in 1994, the winery has grown in size and reputation, now producing 3,500 cases of wine annually and receiving over 20,000 visitors to the cellar door each year. We're just down the road from Preston Peak Wines for the start of Stage 4 here at the Old Queensland Polo Club. It's going to be really tough out there today. It's 6 laps of a 23.5 kilometre circuit. No King of the Mountains out on the road, but really lumpy circuit. So it's going to be very tough for the guys, 140 kilometres. And considering how hard the tour has been so far, I expect a lot of carnage out on the road today.
It's hilly and a bit of wind, but more hills. It's going to be a lot harder after a few days of racing already. That the leg's going to be tired going into it. So it's going to be a pretty brutal course, I reckon.
Can you get
Even though Budget Forklifts is only here with 4 riders, one of them is Jack Bobridge in 3rd place overall, and he's just so strong. He's very aggressive in Stage 3, so I'd expect him to be attacking a lot today. And we'll have to wait and see if Joe Cooper and Avanti are strong enough to hold him off.
We're going to try and do a bit of damage early and then save our 2Ps, Jack Anderson and Jack Bobridge, and try and claw that time back.
In the overall standings, Joe Cooper from Avanti Racing holds a 13-second lead over Dan Fritter from Charter Mason, with Jack Bobridge 25 seconds further back for the Budget Forklifts team. The riders were very nervous because they knew just how hard this 23-kilometre lap was. Had to do it 6 times, so the attacks came thick and fast right from the start of the race. And look, really, Budget Forklifts had to do something today. They only got 4 riders, and Avanti really were going to be under a lot of pressure right from the start.
just the course and the nature of it, you know, it was never one that you could just get on the front and ride the whole race yourself.
On the first climb it was really steep and they had that every lap, but on the first time up there was a small crash at the back of the field, and Dylan Sunderland unfortunately had a pretty nasty mechanical as well. So once he got himself up off the road, they tried to change the wheel, but he couldn't change his gears. He had a mechanical problem there, and it appeared that he was going to have to withdraw from the race. So early on that first lap, a group of 10 riders did get away from the main field, but going further from that was Sam Focals, who was really strong all day, spent so much time off the front. He got caught by another group as well, then went again solo from then, so he was burning a lot of energy early on in the race, but it just showed how strong he is. So when the race got to the halfway mark, Focals was still out in front, race behind was pretty much all together, and then a new group of 7 riders went off the front, including one of the budget riders. There was no one really dangerous on the overall classification until then another group of 5 attacked from the main field, including Jack Anderson. Those 2 groups then came together. They also picked up Focals, so it became quite a strong group out in front.
After 80k, the group break established. Before that, we had a tough day because we didn't have anybody in the breaks all day long. So we ended up being lucky to have me out there. We're one of the 2 GC guys.
Just before that group of 5 caught the 7 leaders out in front, Anderson dropped his chain, had a mechanical mishap. He was very quickly off the bike, putting the chain back on, and then he rejoined those leaders. Well, with so many steep hills on the course, there was also some very steep descents, and the peloton was flying at certain parts around the circuit. So when they got to 102 kilometre point, there were still the 11 riders out in front, but the steepness of the climbs were really starting to hurt the legs back in the main field, and Joe Cooper, the race leader, was starting to lose some of his Avanti teammates.
Yeah, they tried to do the best they could, and just eventually the hills, wear them out, and they just can't get back on.
The 2 budget riders, Torkler and Anderson, out in that lead group, working very strong out in front. The gap went to a minute over a chasing group of 14 riders, which included their teammate Jack Bobridge, and Joe Cooper had then become isolated and was trying to do a lot of work to close it down.
I mean, on the last lap, everyone just wanted to sit up going through the start-finish, and that was probably the key moment when it was like, well, that's probably the race over, and there's still a lot of teams that haven't done anything, just wanted to throw in the towel.
As they were approaching the last lap at 122 kilometres to go, it appeared the peloton was going to throw in the towel, and Brad Evans, yesterday's stage winner, decided that would be his moment to attack, and then he did a fantastic job to solo across to the lead group.
And I just thought, why not have a crack? And then I got out there and I got about halfway and I was thinking, what am I doing out here, man? I'm just gonna blow. But I just kept the power on, and the legs responded, and I was hurting, but I did well to get there.
As they hit the tough hills on that final circuit, the lead group went down to 6 riders, and the gap back to the main field blew out to 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
We were pretty quietly confident that it was in the bag, so I started sitting on, to try and save energy for the finish from that point, and was thinking about another stage win.
When the 6 leaders hit the wall for the final time with 3.5 kilometres to go, all hell broke loose. Girdleston attacked from the bottom, and then Anderson was getting into some difficulty and then had a mechanical mishap and had to change the bike.
Unfortunately dropped my chain for the second time today, and couldn't manage to get it back on after much fighting down the descent. So pulled over with the stream guys and couldn't get it back on, and basically got on the spare bike and raced to the finish, and obviously well inside 3k to go.
Coming into the final couple of 100 metres, it was Michael Schweitzer driving it on the front of the lead group, trying to get an advantage over Jack Anderson. Pat Shaw from Avanti Racing was the first to attack to try and go for the stage victory, but yesterday's stage winner Brad Evans from Pat's Veg came over the top of Shaw and was too strong in the closing metres.
If anything, yesterday just gave the team and all our riders more confidence going in today that we can put it with all the teams here, all the big continental teams, and today just proves it again.
An impressive third place on the stage for teenager Keegan Girdlestone. The experience of Pat Shaw saw him take second, and back-to-back stage victories for Brad Evans. Ben Hill from Charter Mason remains the leader in both the sprint and King of the Mountain competitions.
Got to the finish line and was told, no worries, you'll get bunch time, or the time of the guys you were with, and then only to have the decision reversed, a few minutes later, and them saying, no, you won't get the bunch time.
There was plenty of controversy after the stage, and we perhaps haven't seen the end of it, but for now, Michael Schweitzer takes over the race lead and the new purple jersey.
I was dropped a little bit on the last steep section, but I could get back, and then I just saw that Jack Anderson was dropped, so it rode the last 2k full gas, didn't go for the stage wheel, and just succeeded in getting the purple jersey. I'm really happy. Big thing for the team and for me.